as I told you, is the study of sign systems. There are all kinds of signs all around us. So, how to decipher these signs, how these signs are coded and decoded, what the signs means, how the signs are interpreted. Semiotics is all about that. Okay. Now, tell me one thing, that if semiotics is a study of sign systems, then why are we doing it in film studies? Why is it important in film studies as a film theory?
Because
what is its significance? To understand silent movies. Why only silent movies?
Ma'am, if we know all the signs better, then we can use this for a better distortion.
Exactly, okay. So, that means if you know how the sign system works, then you can make better films because you know how to code your film with signs. Okay. So, that is one thing. And on the other hand, if you are not a filmmaker, if you are just a film theorist or film analyst, you can read the films better, you can decode your films better if you know how the sign system is working. What are the codes that are prevalent in cinema and how to decode them, etc., etc. Okay. So, basically, actually to put it in a nutshell, semiotics is studied as a branch of film studies. It has become very important in film studies because we all today accept cinema as a language system, as a language. Okay, because language is also a sign system. There are these signifiers, the words are the signifiers. When the words are put together to make a sentence, an idea is conveyed. So, they are signified. Okay. So, cinema also works like that. Shots are put together to convey a particular meaning, okay, to tell a particular story. And because such wonderful stories are told through films, such moving stories can be told through films, it is accepted all over film academia that cinema is a language. Cinema can be treated as a language. Okay. So, therefore, the study of semiotics has become very important in film studies. We have to understand semiotics and then we will apply it to cinema. Okay. So, the most fundamental concept in semiotics is this idea of signifier and signified. Okay. That each sign consists of a signifier and a signified. Now, the signifier is the representation of an idea, okay, representation of an idea either as a word or as a photograph or as a cartoon or as a symbol, various kinds of representation of it can even be a sound. Okay, it can even be a whistle or tweeting of a bird, even that can be a signifier, right. So, therefore, a signifier is an image or sound or text, word, whatever it is, okay, and that conveys an idea. So, the idea conveyed is called the signified. Okay, signified is the idea conveyed. Okay, and we discussed the example that DOG, dog, is a signifier, and the idea that conjures up in your mind when I say dog is the signified. Okay, and different ideas will conjure up in your mind. If you have a pet dog, then immediately you will start imagining your pet dog. If a stray dog has bitten you a few days back, then immediately you start imagining a stray dog. Okay, so the idea that conjures in people's minds are not necessarily exactly the same, but it is broadly we know what the idea, broadly speaking, a particular idea is conjured up by the word dog. So, therefore, dog is the signifier and the idea that it conjures is the signified. Okay. And we discussed also what are the three types of signifiers. Three types of signifiers are index, they are icon and symbol. These are the three types of signifiers. Okay. Now, what is an index? A photograph. Okay, now see, a photograph is an index, definitely. What about a thumb impression? Is that an index? If I take a thumb impression, is that an index?
No.
Yes, it is an index. Index is a proof of existence, a proof that, okay, this person is there. So, why is a photograph an index? Because the person is there, his photograph has been taken. Understood? So, it is a proof of existence. You take a photograph of yourself under the Eiffel Tower to tell the whole world, to put it on, post it on Facebook that you went to Paris, right? So, it is a proof of your existence. So, it is an index. Okay. Similarly, thumb impression is a proof of existence. It does not resemble you as such, but it is a proof of your existence. So, it is an index. Okay. Any other index, example of index you can give?
Ma'am, shoe marks.
Shoe marks, yeah, shoe marks, pug marks. But they go to Sundarban to do that sensor of tiger. Okay, so they count the tigers by their pug marks. All right, so that is definitely a proof of existence. Oh, pug mark, that means the tiger has just walked by. So definitely that is a index. Very good. Any other example? Think. Small video clip, okay, okay. All these ये जो रिश्वत लेते हुए these videos, they take, what's that called? Sting operation. Yeah. The sting operation survive on these hidden camera videos. So definitely they are an index. They are a proof that okay, this thing happened, right? Absolutely. Okay. Smoke coming out of a chimney means that somebody is living there. Understood that it is inhabited, there is human habitation. So that is also an index, right? Okay. So therefore, if supposing tomorrow you go into that classroom and you see Charlie Chaplin's hat and stick there. So you know, okay, Charlie Chaplin will be coming in sometime. So that is a proof of his existence that Charlie Chaplin is somewhere around, right? Okay, so these are all examples of index, which is basically proof of existence. Okay? Achha, the other kind of signifier is icon. What is an icon?
Icon is a cartoonistic representation of.
Icon is a cartoonistic representation, or it is like in front of this lady's toilets you have that lady.
Yes.
That is an icon.
Something there is a correlation with the.
Something that resembles. There is a physical resemblance. Something that has a physical resemblance to the idea conveyed. Okay, that is an icon. All right. So in that sense, photograph is an icon also. Okay, because it has a tremendous physical resemblance to what it is representing. Okay, so therefore photograph is an icon also. Photograph is an index as well as an icon, right? Okay, so anything that is resembling, that is a caricature or cartoon or those symbolic representation of man, woman, so all those things, because there is physical resemblance, so we categorize them as icons. Okay, and symbol is something which is abstract, which is neither a proof of existence nor is there any physical resemblance. Okay, but something totally abstract. Say for example, DOG, dog. Dog is a symbolic representation of that creature called dog, because otherwise DOG doesn't have any resemblance, isn't it, to that creature, okay, and nor is it a proof of existence. Okay, but it's every word in a language, the words are all symbolic representations of ideas. When I say run, okay, run doesn't really have any resemblance to the act of running, okay, to the idea of running. So it's a symbolic representation. Understood? So all words are symbolic representations of the ideas that they convey, okay, in any language. All right, company logos can be categorized as symbols, arrow marks, traffic signals. Traffic signals are sometimes iconic because, you know, no U-turn. So they show that you, school ahead, the show that school. So there are some iconic elements in traffic signals also, but then most of the traffic signals are also symbolic. Okay, say no parking. So for parking, they just cut it. So that is totally symbolic. Okay, so like that, we have broadly 3 types of signifiers. Okay, and the idea that these signifiers convey are broadly 2 types, connotative and denotative. Denotative is something about which we all will agree, like DOG, dog, that it is a dog. You know what a dog is, we all understand, so we all agree that what the word means, DOG, dog. Okay, so there is no confusion, there is no 2 opinion. But what is the connotative part in the communication? The idea, the picture of dog that all of you will have in your minds is going to be different. Okay, so that is the connotative part, which brings out the shades of meaning, or which is open to interpretation, or which is very subjective. Okay, so the objective part of the communication is denotative, and the subjective interpretative part of the communication is connotative. So in every communication there is a denotative element, there is a connotative element.